The rain hammered against the windows of Thorne's estate, mirroring the tempest brewing within Jedediah Stone. He watched Elias Thorne pace the veranda, a caged animal lamenting of freedom he's forfeited. The scent of sandalwood clung to the air, a lingering dose of Silas. It wasn't supposed to end like this, Marshal, Thorne rasped, his voice raw with a despair that felt almost theatrical. Just a warning, a message. Jed's boots scuffed the polished wood. A message that involved a hired gun and a death sentence. He pointed to the ruby nestled amongst the overgrown flowerbed, a stark contrast to the storm-ravaged landscape. What was the message, Mr. Thorne? What were you so afraid of? Thorne stopped pacing, his shoulders slumping. Father, he built an empire on shadows, Marshal. Smuggling, exploitation. He used New Orleans as a gateway for exotic goods, opium, stolen artifacts, anything that could fetch a fortune. Silas, he wanted more. More power, more control. He wanted the ledgers, the shipping records. A flicker of lightning illuminated Thorne's face, revealing a fleeting expression of fear. Father always favored Silas. He believed Silas had the killer instinct. I was just the dutiful son, the accountant. And Silas believed you possessed something he wanted. Jed pressed, his voice unwavering. The ledger, Thorne confessed, the word escaping his lips like a curse. The complete accounting of Father's operations. Silas wanted it to consolidate his control, to eliminate any potential rivals. And why didn't you simply hand it over? He threatened Mother, said he'd expose her past, things she's buried deep. Thorne shuddered. I couldn't let that happen. Jed nodded slowly. So you hired a man to send a message that escalated into murder. It wasn't supposed to. Thorne's voice trailed off, a broken plea lost in the storm. Who was the man in the hat? Jed asked, his gaze unwavering. Thorne hesitated, his eyes darting around the veranda, as if searching for an escape. I don't know his name. Just a contact. A man Silas referred me to. Jed considered Thorne's response, the silence punctuated by the relentless drumming of rain. You're holding something back, Mr. Thorne. I swear, Marshal, I'm telling you everything I know. Jed pointed to the small, intricately carved wooden mockingbird resting on the windowsill. What's this? Thorne stared at the carving, his face paling further. I'm not sure. It was found near the ruby. A calling card, perhaps, Jed suggested, his voice sharp. Thorne shook his head, his gaze fixed on the bird. Silas, he collected curios, souvenirs from his dealings. This is more than a souvenir, Mr. Thorne. It's a symbol, something meaningful to someone. Jed's eyes narrowed. Someone connected to Silas. A sudden crash from downstairs startled them both. Clem burst onto the veranda, his face pale. Marshal, there's someone downstairs, rifling through Silas's old study. Jed's hand instinctively moved to his holster. Stay here, Mr. Thorne. He turned to Clem. Let's go. They descended the grand staircase, the only illumination coming from the occasional flash of lightning. The study was in disarray, papers scattered across the floor, drawers pulled open. A figure stood hunched over Silas's desk, their face obscured by shadow. Hold it right there, Jed shouted. The figure straightened, revealing a slender woman with piercing blue eyes and a defiant posture. She wore a traveling cloak, and a single silver feather was woven into her dark hair. Looking for something, Marshal? She asked, a voice laced with amusement. Jed's eyes narrowed. He recognized the feather. He's seen it before, tucked inside a ledger seized from a New Orleans shipping manifest. You're connected to Silas, aren't you? Jed accused. The woman smiled, a flash of teeth in the dim light. Silas was a benefactor, a patron of the arts, you might say. And what art do you practice? Jed pressed. She held up her hand, revealing a small, silver coin etched with a familiar crest, the same crest emblazoned on the ledger Thorne possessed. Information brokering, she said, her voice a silken whisper. I specialize in retrieving lost treasures. She glanced at Thorne, who stood frozen on the landing above. And sometimes, those treasures are people. Jed knew, in that instant, that he's only scratched the surface of a conspiracy that reached far beyond redemption and the Thorne family. The storm raged outside, but a far more dangerous tempest was brewing within, and he was standing right in the eye of it. He didn't know who she was, or what she wanted, but he knew one thing for sure: the death of Silas Thorne was just the beginning.